Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Mufc Realist TV. We have some breaking news, and it's a sad day for smaller clubs in the Premier League, as the English Premier League just have charged Everton for 10 points deduction for breaching financial fair play. And then we have the top of the league giants, which is Manchester City, which everybody knows has 115 allegation. Was that this does not make sense to me. Why punishing the small clubs that are struggling to make the financial ends means? Well, you have clubs like Manchester City that fairly is cooking the books and getting away with murder, with certain influence, with political brown paper bags floating under the table. We got to dive right into this story. So, guys, please, I want to hear from you. I want to hear your thoughts and feelings. Leave your comments in the comment section as well. Let's dive right into the story. I find it very disturbing because we were reporting the other day that they were facing approximately 12 points deduction, but it was official today. They got charged with 10 points deduction. Now, what does this mean? Everton has been given a 10-point deduction after independent commission found them guilty of breaching the Premier League's FFP financial fair play rule, the statement says. However, the club planned to appeal against what they regards is disproportionate and unjust punishment, and said they were shocked and disappointed by the decision made out of the sanction. Guys, this I totally agree. They are shocked, considering that you have Chelsea, considering that you have Manchester City that has constantly cooked the books for years and years and years, and appealed in the arbitration court of Europe. But now this is also under the review under EPL. I just find it remarkable that they have punished the smaller fish but not really gone for the giants. Guys, I want to hear from you. I'm going to go to the comments section. RJ is saying big up to everyone. And I'm not going to read out to you, but I can understand Man City, what you're saying, cheating bastards, what you are saying. Jamie Wayne, what you are saying here as well is I think City should be next. And I believe that this has to be the road. This has to certainly be the toy soldiers. Step by step, they all fall down like toy soldiers, like that Tanika song in the 80s. You got to be fair. If you are going after smaller clubs and breaching them for breaching financial fair plays, then certainly there has to be a demand to ask for Manchester City's head as well. Of course, if you're a rich club like Manchester City, all you have to do is hire the most fanciest, expensive lawyers, push it, appeal, and just maybe it will go away. But this time, I think this is going to be a domino effect, and I do expect the same treatment from financial fair play rules by Premier League Commission as well, to have a seriously talk to Manchester City and look what they've done. Fadi is here to say that this is absolutely disgusting, and I totally agree with you. From a neutral perspective, I'm a Manchester United fan, but I'm also a Premier League fan, and every single club that's in here is competing. They're all getting fair prices for the TV rights, but certainly they are not as a big club like Manchester United, like Arsenal, like Liverpool, like City. They don't have that luxury of getting those commercial sponsorship, right? So we're going to dive into this story furthermore, so we're going to read this together, and I want your opinions regarding this as well. I'm going to put my thoughts and feelings to it as well, people. But as it stands today, Sean Dyche men will drop from 14th spot to 19th place in the Premier League. So that's how it looks like, from 14th spot to the 19th by this 10 points deduction, right, in the Premier League table, and will be plunged into greater danger of relegation. As of they were always fighting relegations 2 seasons alone, and barely scraping out and barely making it to just stay alive, and gets Sean Dyche in there. And this is the punishment that they get, from 14th down to relegation spot almost. The Toffees become the first English top flight club to receive such a punishment for failing foul of FFP guidelines. It should have been freaking Manchester City, according to my opinion. They have been there first with 115 allegations. We got to ask the hard questions. What about Manchester City? I'm sure there's a couple of City fans looking at this and brushing it under the carpet. We're hunky dory, yeah. But Pep Guardiola is well known to be involved in these kind of situations before, right? It is common that City, that when they, when they were bought up by Sheikh Mansour, didn't have any fans. They didn't have hardly to fill the empty had, and they just published now recently a profit of 700 million pounds, and that's ringing alarm bells to most people, including the Premier League FFP. So basically, they just had a third club in the Premier League era to be deducted points for a reason after Portsmouth saw the 9 points taken away. Um, Stupid commercials. Sorry for reading. I'm reading out this for one football app, but basically, Portsmouth was the first team in the Premier League that saw 9 points taken away entering an administration in 2010, and Middlesbrough were the slapped with the 3 points deduction from illegally postponing a game in 1997. But that was not financial fair play for Middlesbrough. It was pretty much illegally postponing a game. But both teams substantially, I can't even say this word, so I'm skipping it. They're suffering relegation at the end of the season. What happened, right? Due to this points deduction. A statement for Premier League read, an independent commission has imposed an immediate deduction of 10 points on Everton FC, a breach of the Premier League's profitability and sustainability rules, which is PSRS. So FFP looks at the debts versus the operational gains, right? So the Premier League has issued a complaint against the club and referred to a case in an independent commission earlier this year. During the proceedings, the club admitted it was in breach of the PSRS for the period ending season 21-22, but the extent of the breach remained in dispute. It's been in dispute like Manchester City, but they have rich lawyers. They have kicked the can as far as they could. But the small little club like Everton, we're talking about David against Goliath here. This makes me fuming, to be honest. Of course, every club that's breaching the FFP, the financial fair play, should be punished in the law. That means that you're not exempt. Even Manchester United, if we breach, we should be charged and punished. Everyone. The rules apply equal. Following a 5-day hearing last month, the Commission determined that Everton FC PSR calculation for the relevant period resulted in a loss of £124.5 million. So they are looking at the loss versus the money that they make in profits, right? So they make 124.5 million loss as contended by Premier League. That was questioned by Premier League, which exceeded the threshold of 105 million pounds permitted under the PSR rules. So there is a rule to say your debt cannot overachieve or at the estimation, which is 105 million pounds, which is permitted. But as soon as you reach that threshold, there rings alarm bells, apparently. The Commission concluded that the sporting sanction in the form of 10-point deduction should be imposed. That sanction has now an immediate effect. You see, this is what I found disturbing. Immediate effect. Fair enough. But why is it taking so long for Manchester City? Why are they not looking into Todd Bowley's shady business? Surely they breached some, or surely they find some loopholes by signing up players on 8 years contract. And surely that is illegal, right? But no, they are the big clubs. They are the one that are generating the most viewers. And Premier League is all about views, Who is going to watch Everton? Predominantly speaking, when Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Chelsea, the top 6 clubs are playing, this is what generates the most money in terms of TV broadcasting, and this is what's good for the Premier League. But when you have smaller clubs like Everton, that seems like a drop in the ocean. Who cares? That's why I should say the rules applies to equal every team in the Premier League, according to my opinion. I want to hear from you. What are you thinking? Do you agree with me? Press a 1 if you agree that this is a scandal. Press a 2, you think that City should be also charged. I want to hear from you guys. Because last month, the Premier League had recommended a deduction up to 12 points. That was what we talked about the other day. Up to 12 points. as they urge the independent commission to impose a severe sanction. They actually recommend a severe sanction. Here is what's bothering me, right? Here is what's bothering me. A severe sanction pointed at Everton, a severe sanction, but not against City. It's just quiet. And then they go and bigging up that City won the triple treble last season, and bigging them up, knowing what they've done, knowing that it's just there in front of our eyes and nobody's really talking about it. This is what pisses me off. This is what is triggering me. Everton responded in a club statement to say that Everton Football Club is both shocked and disappointed by the ruling of the Premier League's commission. I smell a rat here. The club believes that the Commission has imposed a wholly disproportionate and unjust sporting sanction. The club has already communicated its intention to appeal the decision to the Premier League, and I believe that they should do so. Premier League and the PGOL has become a farcical. They become an entity that you don't question. You just abide the rule. It's like a dictatorial state. Don't talk to the referees. Don't talk to the hand. The VAR is a shocking mechanism as well, where there's no clear and obvious, there's no consistency. You give penalties to your favorites and you don't give penalties to the ones that deserve a penalty. So inconsistent. And so goes with the FFP rulings here as well. The appeal process will now commence and the club case will be heard by appeal board appointed pursuant of the Premier League rules due course. Everton maintains the stance, though, that it has to be open and transparent in the information provided by the Premier League. They are collaborating, and that it weighs, has always respected the integrity of this process. They've been collaborating all the way, and they put their hand up and say, yes, we got a mistake. We got punished. But City, no, we did not do this. We are lying cheaters. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for going on a tandem. I'm sorry for going rant, but this makes my blood boil. The club does not recognize the finding that it failed to act with the utmost good faith and does not understand this to have been an allegation made by the Premier League during the course of proceedings. That's what they say. Both the harshness and severity of the sanctions imposed by the commissions are neither a fair nor reasonable reflection of the evidence submitted. So they feel hard done because they played ball from the very first beginning, and they thought we should just get a fine or something, but no, they got shocked because they got even suggested 12 points deduction to a 10 points deduction. The club was already struggling 2 years in a row, trying to make ends meet, to stay above the relegation, not to go down to the, champions, the EPL league, the first division, whatever you call it. But I'm so upset with this. The club will also monitor the great interest in the decision made by any other cases concerning the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules. However, now we come to the part which is most interesting for every Premier League fan. Manchester City faces 115 charges for allegedly breaching the FFP when everyone knows it. Why are you saying allegedly? In cases has not been heard, while Chelsea could also face charges relating to former owner Roman Abramovich's reign. So basically they're saying here, Manchester City faces 115 charges for breaching the same FFP rules, but that case has not been heard yet. What the hell? Why hasn't it been heard yet? And Chelsea, what we spoke again, why has that been heard yet? But you have to attack small little clubs like Everton as well. Let that sink in. Think about it. Let that sink in, people. Everton has also announced a total loss over 300 million for the 3-year period from 2019 to 2022. From above the 105 million permitted, of course, that's what they're looking at. You are permitted to lose 105 million pounds, but in total over this period of time, they lost almost half, double. £300 million. However, the clubs were also permitted to additional losses related to the COVID-19 pandemic and infrastructure cost exempt, because a lot of clubs lost a lot of money due to the pandemic. We all know it. Meaning there's no grey area in terms of interest payments on those costs of building Everton's new stadium. Let's continue, guys, as well. Everton contended that it is the discrepancy. It is this discrepancy lies, and that is a matter of the interpretation of accounting. So it's a matter of discrepancy in the accounting. In addition, Everton had a 200 million pre-agreement for naming rights deal, the new Bramley Moore Docks Stadium with USM, Asher Usmanov's company, which they had to abandon after Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine. So there was yet again that UK government thing stepped in because of the sanctions regarding Russia, and what part of the reason why they stole Abramovich club as well. Basically, they basically kicked him out and put it to an auction. Whatever happened to that money, nobody really knows. But nobody asked that question anyway. So you own Chelsea Football Club, and all of a sudden you get kicked out because of sanctions, because of your nationality, and then they put your club on auction, fire sale. So where did all that money go to? Did it go to the British government, or did it go to Roman Abramovich? Nobody's really answered that question, but I want to find out. Everton have willingly operated under the de facto salary cap since then. So they've been absolutely squeezing the squeaky bum time, operating on the bare minimum salary cap since then. The Premier League provided the club with a financial guidelines. So the Premier League provided them with the guidelines. Here's how you're going to get away. Like, follow these guidelines and you'll be okay. And they did it. And they seem to did it. But still they get done. And Everton have net profit of 28 million from the last 4 transfer windows. So they have net profit of the year selling on the transfer windows, right? In the third largest after Leicester and Brighton in that time. Well, threatened to sue. They are threatening to sue the Merseyside club for financial losses should they be found guilty for an FFP breach. Guys, I want to hear from you. Let me know. I'm going to read this comment section below, but I find this absolutely appalling. I mean, fair play. Like, if you have, struggled, you have reached out for help, they've given you the guideline. You try your best and you followed it, and you've been just playing ball and just telling, being transparent. And at the end of the day, what you expected as a club is basically to get a little bit of a fine, but not a 10 points deduction. And then they go and to say that, 115 points allegations on the table for Manchester City, which they not have looked at yet, but that's been there for years as well. What the hell is going on? Chelsea, what is going on there? Todd Bowles dealing shadings. What's going on there? You can't just sweep it under the carpet, mate. It's unbelievable. Just look that way. Oh, look what they're doing. Good, good, good. But don't look that way, hey, because we're going to screw you over here. Woohoo. I'm just putting out there, people. Anyway, big up to you, Time Barrett. Basically, what they're doing, Sim, they put a time bar stamp on it. But that's what they did in the arbitration court in Switzerland. They put a time bar stamp on it. But here they cannot do that because this is an independent investigation by the Premier League. So they cannot do it. But the question is, why have they put it under the carpet? I'm going to bring Mark to the stage as well. Hope you well, Mark. Are you ready to come in, Mark? I want to hear your opinion there as well, my friend. Good morning to you, Mark. Good afternoon. How are you doing, sir? Mark, you there?
Good morning, Mick. How are you doing, man? Is
I'm
everything
absolutely
good?
boiling and absolutely fuming. What I'm reading now, this was just breaking. They got punished with 10 points deduction. We knew that it was coming. We knew there was some form of 12 points. But reading what I'm reading here is basically they've been playing ball. They've been following the regulations, the guidelines, what the Premier League has been doing. And yet again, they say here in the statement that they have Manchester City's, 115 allegations charged, but they haven't really looked at it as of yet, which is absolutely taking the piss. So it's the David against the Goliath. What's your thoughts and feelings regarding this, Mark?
I think it's tough. It sends the wrong message to football right now. I
Yep.
can't see Man City. I understand when Paul said earlier in the week that Man City's charges are delayed because the investigation was delayed by COVID. But at the same time, when you go in and you make these decisions on lesser clubs that are not even voting as well, meaning, in my opinion, like these clubs are struggling to keep themselves in the Premier League, to keep their money flowing in, and then you hit them with these, and then the other clubs that are making like the lion's share of the profits of football, and you're not doing them jack squat. It makes no sense. Like maybe you could have done Man City for 10 of the charges and then continue on as they go on. You keep
But
slapping charges on, but
But the
it's
thing
just
is, like,
unbelievable.
okay, I understand that they've overreached the threshold with 110 million in losses, right? And over the period of time, they've actually made losses of 300, right? So that's like, yeah. But then you got to look at Manchester City that's been cooking the books, and they are absolutely in the mud now because they revealed the financial report making a profit of 700 million, and people are raising the eyebrows like, hang on a second, you're not as big as you're a small club. You can
Yeah,
hardly feel empty hand, right? So where's this money coming from? Okay, some TV rights, some Champions League, but there's some seriously juju going on in the cooking the books over there, right?
I
What
don't
that's
know
what's
how.
pissing.
Sorry.
Yeah, but that is what pisses me off. You got to have equal treatment for everyone. If the FFP rule is there, it's supposed to look at every single club. Just because what I said earlier, you might not agree with me, but if you look at Premier League, it's a league, right, with broadcasting rights. And the reason why you keep this city up there, Liverpool, because they are the big hitters. This is what people would like to tune in and watch. Arsenal, City, Liverpool, Manchester United, but nobody's going to care to tune into Everton, right? That's not
Mm-hmm.
prime time television. But still,
100%.
still, just big up Jamie when Everton's statement from 1 hour ago. They called out City and Chelsea. They absolutely did, because they think they should be equal, right? And the same thing goes with VAR and PGOL. Everything is out of whack at the moment with the Premier League. They need a total reshake. You know, the VAR
Yeah.
has been absolutely shambles. The refs has been a shambles, and now this with the Premier League. What a scandal, right? Everton is being made of an example. They have been made in a scapegoat example, But I do expect, Mark. Do you expect City to go next? And what is next for City and Chelsea?
Well, I think Chelsea will be next because, like I said, they have less charges. They just breached it. It's going to be recent. They're going to be able to delve in and get the information for that a lot quicker, according to their excuse for why City hasn't been dealt with as yet. I think Chelsea should see a huge deduction because their breach would have been made way more
Mm.
than Everton. And let's be real, like they sold well, but they also spent extremely a lot of money. They spent $1 billion in less
Oh
than two
yeah,
years.
oh
And I
yeah.
mean, Chelsea is
They
kind
bought
of
a
a
new
big
squad.
club. Yeah, Chelsea's kind of a big club, to be fair. Like I'm not gonna take that away from them because I'm
No.
from the Caribbean. I live in Germany, and I see Chelsea jerseys, Man U jerseys, Real Madrid jerseys, Atletico. You see Liverpool. But the one thing you see Bayern Munich and all in Trinidad and Tobago. You see Italian jerseys, AC Milan. You rarely see
Yeah,
Man City jerseys.
you don't
So
see Manchester. No,
when
no,
you
you
when you
don't.
consider all in all, Chelsea might not get as big a point deduction, but they should probably get deducted 12, 15 points, maybe 20. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't judge it too much. We need to know
Okay.
how much they stretch the FFP, but Man City
Okay. So
definitely needs to be relegated.
So park that thought, like, okay, so they made an example out of Everton. This is the first one to be actually breached and charged by the report here. But that's what we're going next. That is the benchmark now. Minimum 10 points deduction, right? We know that Chelsea
Hmm.
is there. We know that Manchester City is there. But barring the crimes that City has committed, 115, there's a question from Brandon Chappell here. Does this mean that City will be relegated?
It kind of leads into that direction if you take into consideration the way they dealt with Everton. I mean, 10 points, that's major. You know what I mean? They could have gone with six, they could have gone with five. They went with 10. They set a benchmark that's very, very strict. 10
Don't
points is
mess with us.
huge, especially with only 20 games left, I think. 22 games, 23 games left.
But that's huge
Um,
because that means that they're down at 19th point again, fighting the relegation, which for the past 2 years they've been just keeping their head out of the water and just avoiding the relegation, right? And on the other hand,
yeah,
there's a good question that Brendan is saying here. Does If this is the benchmark, if this is the first one that they impose 10 points for breaching, like what? Um, a little bit in depth, a little bit. They followed the guidelines. They played ball with the Premier League, and they followed everything, and they made sure. And they went in and thought that we're just going to get a little small fine, but not a deduction, right? But City, on the other hand, what I'm trying to pose here, this is
major.
115 allegations. This is major. This means for me, not even one be relegation. Relegation two divisions, what this did against Juventus. Strip away all the titles as well. Because over
Exactly.
these years, you've been actually inflating and buying those players for Pep Guardiola. And Pep Guardiola, by the way, is not his first time. Even in Barcelona, he was involved with scandals like this as well. I don't know. Some people saying that he's a shady mother yucker. I don't know. And
Yeah, I
I'm
think
not a
it's.
City fan. Hmm.
I mean, like I, I'm not one to to criticize coaches too much. I think some things they would know, some things they may not. Some things is up in the air. You can only be as open as you want. You can't really say to everyone, like, you can't really say, okay, Pep knows every single thing. It might look like he does because, I mean, he's got the same team from Barcelona with him
Yeah.
there, but at the end of the day, these guys are majorly into the football side. So I would say, yeah, they want the players. They're responsible for getting for driving the agenda to get whatever players they get to spend the money that they spent and how they spent it. But I'd leave that to the business execs and the board because they're the ones who really sign checks and stuff like that. And I think
Yeah,
it's
true,
definitely
true.
need to be serious, very, very, very strict, just like the Everton. They need to deduct,
Okay.
maybe relegate two leagues, take away titles. That means we probably might get a title. You never know.
It's not about that. It's about fairness, right? It's about fairness, and I believe that don't let this slide, people. Like we love the game. Football is dying. I feel that football is slipping away from us. Like Diane Smith is saying, the FA, FIFA are all corrupt. The game is finished, and I feel it's going that way with the VAR and subjective offsides. We ever heard anything like that? And now this, right? So it feels like if you have big political connections, if you have the money, it's easily you can get away with murder. And I simply I hate the way the game is going, guys. Right?
One
Anyway, I want
hundred
to hear from
percent.
the VR. I cannot click this post, what you posted, Jamie Vane, because this doesn't link to anything. Fatty City would pay off the FA, what you are saying as well. Maddie, hi to you, Maddie. Rat, Maddie are not rat, but the reason why I say rat, because you have a rat on the picture. Milos Smitic is saying here as well in Serbian. Yeah, we know that Milos, that Everton got 10 points deduction. Yeah, just reading in the Serbian. Sim, what you're saying here, my friend. UEFA took the money from City, delayed the process, and got off with it. It's so interesting that you're saying that, Sim, because in the court of arbitration in Switzerland, for the they were, I think they were battling for years and years and years, and all they did was appealing and appealing and appealing and appealing, and then it disappeared because there was a time bar stamp on it. As soon as, from a legal perspective, when you put a time bar, that means that you can no longer contest it. So they just putting in a time bar, complaint, appeal, until the case is dropped. Now, with this independent commission here, they cannot do that. And that's the difference with the Premier League. It's come to the end of the road for City, and I do hope that this leads, Mark, that this is the opening for a lot of other investigations, but it surely has to be equal.
It surely has to be, like, everything should be fair. Like I always say, football sport in general is a meritocracy. It's not about a popularity contest. The best of the best, the ones who work the hardest, the one who focus the most, stick to the principles and keep themselves together. Those are the ones that deserve to be at the top. I'm not
100%.
saying Manchester United deserves to be at the top. Right now we're nowhere near that. But at the end of the day, like, this can be allowed, and it's seeping into international football as well. As you could see, like the Marcus Rashford result with the red card against Copenhagen, that's UEFA. That's ridiculous. In my opinion, it's never a red. You could give a yellow. It's probably an orange. I can't even begin to say, well, like, I understand he stepped on the guy's foot, but he doesn't have eyes behind his head,
Yeah,
and it's
and
football. It's a contact sport. It's not like basketball. So the rule where you can't step on someone, you can't kick someone by accident. I think that's a travesty against the sport,
It's a
the history of the
travesty.
game. You know what I mean? Because let's be real, the tackles are a lot less disciplined than they were before 10 years ago. 10 years
Yeah,
before
true
that,
that.
it was even
True
more.
that.
It was even worse. So I'm
Okay.
not saying it should go back to that because that might be dangerous. But what I'm saying is that there need to be some middle ground
Oh,
because it's
100%, 100%. Now, look, I'm old enough to remember City in the olden days before they even had the big money, right? As James Worthing was saying, they were just a mid-table club. Like they were hovering down, like in the mid-tables and hovering relegation until Sheikh Mansour come. I think it was 2007, 2008, and pumped in the money, right? There have been there's been billions of money pumping in. There've been, this even documented that he used his own cousin and all that stuff to pretend there was an agent. That there's a lot of shady money that's gone in, and by rules, you're not allowed to pump in your own money, like and basically he used like fake sponsorships that actually led to him. So how to get away with it is basically money talks, right? If you have deep pockets, you have connections, you just pay them off, right? If Qatar could win a World Cup, hey, we're paying people off as well. This is the way football is, and I think that we are losing the game. You know, even with this new VAR proposal that's coming out now, which is one step to right direction with the semi-automated offside rulings. But in terms of VAR, it should not be there to overrule the umpires. The umpire should always have the final word. Now, just
100%.
make it simple. If it's a handball, let's just do like this, Mark, for example. Maybe it's me being too controversial, but I'm tired of this. Anything that touches the ball within the 6 yard penalty box is a penalty. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter. Doesn't matter where your hand is. Just make it rule simple. You touch your hand, doesn't matter where your hand is. Give it handball, right? For offside ruling, yeah, use like those bots. Yeah, but give a little bit of leeway. Don't be that CSI investigation where you're going with your binoculars and extra, fine comment like CSI Miami. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
if you listen to the chalked off goal regarding Scott McTominay, they were about to give the goal until that Shion came in with a fourth opinion. Hey, wait a minute. Look at Harry Maguire. Right, so it's kind of peer pressure. Back in the days when they didn't have VR, it was the referee's decision and linesman, right? So
100%.
basically, they don't know how to referee anymore. So they basically go like, hey, I'm going to drive the wheel like a Tesla autopilot. I'm now relying you on the system there, right? But the system makes mistake over and over again. So eventually, we're going to go and crash.
100%. Like
Mm.
I think it's like a travesty again. I would have to say it's a disgrace. Football makes so much money financially. Like when you look at tennis, they got cameras. Cricket, they got a bird's eye laser that follows the ball when it bowls. It tells you the trajectory of every ball, exactly where the ball is going based on laser dynamics. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Now,
mm,
I feel like football should have something like that, at least for out balls out of play and stuff like that. It's easy to mark lasers around the corner flags. You know what I mean? Have them within the range, the perimeter of the lines and everything like that. So you could always tell when a ball clears play. They should have a symbol inside each ball, like a chip inside the ball, that you can tell that this ball went out. It signals
yeah.
immediately as the ball exits the field of play. It signals when the ball goes in the back of the net, so you have no questionable goals. Like I agree, I totally agree with you with the handball rule. Any ball touches your hand in the box, it's a handball. Like in my opinion, because it's given
Yeah.
against Manchester United. So
Yeah.
I'm not
I
trying
mean,
to be
just
controversial
say
as you
that
say.
in the penalty box, the only one that's allowed to touch the ball there is the goalkeeper. That's the thing.
100%.
It ain't matter. Just so we get rid of this: is a handball? Is it not handball? Is it played like here or here? It touches your hand. End of story. Give the goal, and you have a high scoring goal, right? Just get rid of these, subjective offside. Just have fucking bots to go ahead and draw the line like I do in tennis, or at least do like what they do in rugby. Like listen, you can hear the conversations. Why are they now posting it like 3 days after in a show to post? Because they're afraid of criticism, right?
Not just criticism, but you could edit
You
audio.
can
Audio
edit.
is editable.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
you can
it's like
edit.
it's not like folding tape anymore and cutting tape and matching it together. That takes time and patience and skill like it used to 20 years ago. Like when I went to university for sound engineering, They teach you to record on tape. You used to have to cut tape and tape it
Yeah.
together and piece it together, different
With
strands.
duct
It has
tape.
different types of tape with duct tape and well, not really duct tape, but a kind of clear tape, you know. But at the same time, I'm just trying to say now it's digital. It's easy to
Yeah.
edit audio and replace it
100%.
anyhow you want. No one can tell the
Oh yeah.
difference. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Especially when you have a good sound engineer. So it's for me, like I'm not like gonna say like I'm 100% like I need to hear it. But if there was like bots like determining offside, I think I would generally just accept it because I know it's automated. You know, it's a mechanism. It's no There's no human interference with that. Once the ball goes offside, it's offside. Like this guy said, this Jarvis was doing a show last night, and he said this guy had 5 points where he said, fixing VAR. And I
Yeah.
totally agree with his 5 points. Take
Right.
away subjective offside. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Let there be clear daylight between players
Yep.
if you want to
And
give
let
that
the
offside.
let
Because
the referee be the main decision maker the way it used to be.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's like when you have to microanalyze to get an inch or 2 inches of someone's toe in front of someone else for offside, it takes away from the
Right.
from the how to put it, the fear, I'm not sure if this is fair, but it takes away from the excitement of the game because a defender needs to now be on his toes. He can't just say,
True.
well, this dude is looks ahead of me, so it's offside, and VR is going to help me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He needs to be on his man because if a guy is like in line with you, he should be onside. That's just my honest opinion. If his foot is offside, taking a step,
Right.
his foot can't take a step and touch the ball at the same time, if you
Yep.
understand what I mean. If
I
someone
understand what you mean.
if someone hands it offside, because I've seen offside given by someone's hand before,
Hmm.
but your hand is not part of the game. So how could you be given offside by your hand? It makes no
True.
sense to me, right?
No.
So these things need to be removed. Like just keep it simple. Handball in the box is a
Yeah.
penalty.
I
Clear
totally agree
daylight
with
for
you.
offside. Clear
Back,
daylight
keep
for
it
offside.
simple, stupid. Kiss, the kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. Move on. Make the game simple. But now what they're trying to do is complicating the game too much into details. Like they're going into microscopic into the pubic hair offside, if you know what I mean.
Exactly.
Basically, RJ is saying last three Ballon d'Ors was never Messi's, in my opinion. So definitely
Facts.
brown paper bags. That's absolutely fact. Sepp Blatter is another one that is a disgrace, a cheat, a disgrace. Will never be sitting sporting directors. Will be new city sporting directors, and that is a very very fair comment, to be honest. Like guys, we have to keep the pressure on, guys, because this channel is all about Manchester United, but we are Premier League lovers and we are football lovers for coming together. But lately, this season has been just a farcical regarding what's going on. It's got to be equal terms to equal for everyone, right? Even if you look at Champions League, the rot has even spread to the VR in the Champions League. Like it's definitely shady as shit. So I'm saying, like,
100%.
I don't mind VR, I don't mind financial fair play, as long as it's equal for everyone. You know,
Exactly.
the ones that have the deepest pockets, the richest club, they get away with it. Manchester United has been scrutinized heavily to the VR system because we're probably a little bit broken and we cannot pay them anymore. That's just my speculation on it. And what are you saying? As a Liverpool, you're a Liverpool fan, or yeah, as a Liverpool, I feel Everton don't deserve 10 points deduction. Everton gets 10 points of deduction. Man City gets relegation. What you should have written there. Yeah, I totally agree. We have people coming from all clubs here expressing their opinions. People, well, smash the like. People, don't forget to like this video because this definitely helps the video reach its algorithm. And subscribe if you haven't. We just came in with a snappy news, man, to cover it. Let us know in your comment section what you think. Do you think that it should be equal? Do you think that who is next? Do you think that Manchester City should be, let's say, if Everton got 10 points, that was a mild slap. They should at least get a financial fine. But
Hmm.
in that case, what City's waiting is it's the perfect storm for relegation and medal stripping and title stripping.
Yeah.
Guys,
Yeah.
100%. Anyway, thanks for coming in, Mark, as well. Big up for everyone that's
Thanks for
coming into
having me.
the stream. We just wanted to go live for the breaking news. 40 minutes into the stream, we'll be back a little bit later on because we're going to do a little bit more of the takeover. We're going to talk about, we're going to talk about the enabling of the Glazers, pretty much. And we're going to talk about Sir Alex Ferguson and his part in it. And because there was reports to say that some smoking report to say that they Ineos wants to have Sir Alex back into the helms to help to rebuild the club. But we're going to dive into it as per Mick Ruby start, as per Realist TV. Stick around for that one. I will post the link later on once we are ready. I'm still preparing the show. And perhaps I can see you there, Mark, as well later on as well.
Most certainly, I will. I will try my very best to be there. You know, I have some things I would also like to discuss, but like I just wanted to touch on a quick point as Maddie R said earlier about flat blatter and stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like as a minnow in world football, like Trinidad and Tobago, I could tell you for sure, like there's definitely huge things that needs to be changed because there are some teams that get away with murder in the CONCACAF, not just in Europa and not just in CONMEBOL and stuff like that. And it's always the minnow teams that suffer. You know what I mean? And it just
Yeah,
highlights how Everton is. Everton could be considered a minnow team.
yeah, it
And the
is.
minnow teams are always the first to suffer. They suffer the most in terms of negative refereeing calls, subjective calls in any nature. They
Oh,
always
wait a
face
minute,
the
wait a minute.
most
We
pressure.
Manchester United has been suffering most this season regarding negative calls.
Well, yeah,
Don't
I
you?
was
Don't
about
you
to
dare to
touch on
come
that.
there. Yeah.
But like we're not a minnow, we're a giant. But it's different for us because we're like the first name. If
Okay.
anyone close their eyes as a football fan and they think of 3 football clubs, before you think of City, you will think of United. Before you think of City, you will think of Liverpool.
Oh,
Before you think of City,
100%.
you're gonna think of Real
100%.
Madrid.
100%. But it's time
So
to close the shop, Mark. And this is it. We have to say hello to a little friend. We have to stand up for a ride.
Say hello to my little friend. Say hello to my little friend. Say hello to my little
Say hello to my little friend because equal has to apply to equal, and we got to stand up because football is dying, according to my opinion. Big up, Mark, for coming in. Big up everyone that's coming to this stream and show. Stay tuned and hit that notification button that you don't miss any videos and uploads alive that we're doing. We are planning a little bit later on a little bit bigger stream today regarding the takeover and regarding moving forward for a club as we are seeing a lot of smoke. But where's the fire, Mark? Big up for coming
exactly.
in, Mark. Big up for the VR room. Talk to you later. Until the next time. Ciao. Bye for now.
Ciao,
Peace
guys.
out.